I'm KamalaIngrid, the Holistic-Yogi. Thank you for joining me today, as today's video is yoga for your hormones. So roll out your mat and let's begin. Let's start in a seated, comfortable position. We begin by setting intention. So inhale a couple of times and slowly exhale. Allow yourself to stay relaxed, centered. Keep your core active. And just breathe in. And as you exhale, draw the shoulders down and away from the ears. Take a couple more breaths in, allowing your parasympathetic system to begin activating. And just feel yourself present. Allow yourself to be tuned in with every energy around you. Let's bring the arms over our heads and into a prayer position as we begin our class. Place your hands on your knees, raise your head up, and on the exhalation, round the spine, exhaling. Inhale, open up, and extend the gaze upward, and exhale, round, and cave in. So I allow this to do this about 5 to 8 counts of this. You choose. If you want to pause this video, go ahead and do so. But just allow yourself to flow easily into an inhalation and exhale, and allow yourself to feel every muscle. Breathing deeply and connect with movement and breath. Coming back into our center, and we're going to now extend the legs, and we're going to roll down slowly, bringing the knees into the chest. Back is flat into the floor, and we hug our knees. This allows us to decompress the back. So just stay here for a few moments. For those that do have a lot of compression in the back, this is a nice way of alleviating any pain. And just flow gently into this position of breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Bringing now the knees down across to the right side. Place your right hand on top of the left knee as you take the left arm. Keep the shoulder and your hands in alignment, and keep the shoulders both grounded. If it's hard for you to do so, then just try to stack the knees and let the shoulder eventually work its way down. But maintain a steady flow of breath. Try not to resist the breath whatsoever. Just keep it flowing in through the nose and right back out. Eventually your arm will bring itself down accordingly depending on how tight it is. We bring the knees back into the chest on the inhalation, roll side to side, and then we're going to repeat on the other side, slowly dropping your knees to the left and repeating what you just did. Once your knees are stacked on top, you're to make sure your shoulder and your wrists are in alignment, and you can gaze towards that side. Let us bring the knees back into the center. Press again into the chest and roll side to side. Now grab a hold of your instep as you grab from the outside of your feet. We call this the baby pose. A great hip and low back releaser. Hold it for as long as you need to. You hold each of these poses here for 5 counts in this video, but you can hold it longer. And then bring yourself into the bridge as we now bring the heels close to the glutes and then thrust the pelvis up. Maintain your feet to be parallel from one another, no wider than your hips. And you're just going to roll up one vertebra at a time, thrusting the pelvis to the ceiling, and then releasing one vertebra at a time. Bring the tailbone last. You're going to do this a few times. And as you saw earlier, you can raise your arms up and down. As you inhale, raise your arms up, or you can keep your hands stable, holding onto the heels, engaging firmly into the shoulders. As you inhale, lift, bringing that weight all the way up into the shoulders. And then you hold here, engaging firmly on those glutes as you thrust the pelvis up. So the entire back is being activated here, as well as your calves and your hamstrings. Breathe in, and then on the exhalation, release one vertebra at a time. So you slowly bring the knees back into our chest, hugging the knee. And then we take our hands behind the knees, rolling ourselves comfortably into a seated position where we both extend both legs out, reaching for the top of your toes. You may use a strap, you may use a towel, depending on your flexibility. But keep in mind to keep those knees grounded. Keep your toes pointing to the ceiling, keep those legs together, and activate the quadriceps by lifting those kneecaps up into the quads. And you should feel those knees also grounding. And now you're hinging from the hips, not from the back, but from the hips, and extend the sternum forward. Once you're ready, you're going to cross over like I did over that leg. If this is very hard for you, you can bring the foot on the inside, giving yourself that space. But we're modifying today. For my yogis out there, you know what to go into a deeper stretch, go for it. But for now, I'm going to keep it very simple for my everyday and not active participants. So we're going to repeat, opposite side. And make sure that your spine is nice and elongated, and that you're allowing to press firmly into the palm. You may use a block if it's very hard for you to bring it back because you might be tight, so you may want a block. And then release. And we're going to switch and turn to the other side. This also helps release that tightness if there's any tightness. We're going to bring ourselves back on all fours. And here we're going into the puppy pose. Great. Also for your shoulders and neck. So make sure that your knees and your hips are in alignment, right, stacked on top of each other. And you can also bring a block on your chest if this is too hard for you. You can bring the forehead also onto the floor to modify. So there's different ways of doing this. Modification. This is a full extended version. And take a moment to breathe here. And again, you may hold these poses for as long as you need to. And then we're bringing ourselves to the ground, forehead down. We're going to grab a hold of the ankles and we lift up high. Use your breath. As you inhale, let the breath take that momentum of rocking you slowly. Don't force yourself to rock. Use your breath. Inhale, like you see here on my inhalation, I move, and on the exhalation, I move forward. Just be conscious of not forcing anything. Just go with your breath. And then come into child pose. Once you release, to decompress the back, open those legs so you can cradle the chest between. And you can keep it active as you see my hands lifting from the ground and only my fingertips on the floor. Or you can keep it passive and you can bring your hands right beside yourself, right by your hips, as you see here. We've come to the end of the class. So take a couple of breaths here, 5 to 8 breaths. And then when you're ready, you may come up and seated, or you may go ahead and place yourself in a position of laying down in Shavasana and come into a 5-minute meditation. But for the most, thank you all for joining me, and namaste.